So, have you ever actually stopped to wonder how massive global corporations avoid, total chaos? We're talking about manufacturing millions of products, keeping massive supply chains flowing, and doing it all without just burning through billions of dollars? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a highly structured science.
Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing a real masterclass deep dive into Lesson 4 from our Global Procurement Management curriculum. It's all about sourcing and the management of suppliers. We're going to break down the exact corporate buying strategies that literally keep the global economy turning, and I am super thrilled to guide you through this material today.
Let's take a quick look at the agenda. First up, sourcing, tactical versus strategic. Second, the procure-to-pay cycle. Third is the 7-step sourcing process. And finally, number 4, supplier evaluation and performance.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Sourcing, Tactical versus Strategic.
Okay, before we get too deep in the weeds, simply put, sourcing is basically the hunt for the exact right partners. It's the structured process of identifying and selecting suppliers for the necessary goods and services you need for production or service delivery. It's really the critical first domino in the whole supply chain.
But as you might guess, not all sourcing is created equal. Think of tactical sourcing kind of like running down to the corner store for a quick umbrella during a sudden rainstorm. It's short-term, it's reactive, and it's mostly used for resolving sudden emergencies, like, say, a supplier getting shut down by an unexpected flood. Strategic sourcing, on the other hand, that's way more like the structured, long-term financial planning you do when buying a house. It relies on deep spend analysis to really optimize your long-term selection, your overall cost, and your competitive advantage.
Now, it's super easy to confuse these next few terms, but they are distinctly different. Sourcing focuses really heavily on collaborative relationship building and market research. Purchasing, well, that's all about your day-to-day tactical execution, stuff like placing orders and physically receiving goods. And procurement, that's the overarching umbrella that aligns everything together with the organization's broader goals.
Moving right along to Section 2, the procure-to-pay cycle. So the big takeaway here is that corporate buying is absolutely not just clicking add to cart and, waiting around for 2-day shipping. It is a rigorous 5-step procure-to-pay or P2P cycle. It starts with clarifying exactly what the company needs, then moves right into securing contract approvals and administering that contract. After that, it shifts over to the physical receipt and inspection of the goods, and finally, it wraps up with payment and ongoing supplier relationship management. Every single step here is a crucial safeguard against financial risk.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 7-step sourcing process.
This pipeline is fascinating. It moves step by step from profiling the category all the way through to benchmarking your results. I really want to highlight Step 2 here, though, supply market analysis. This relies heavily on the famous Kraljic matrix to actually categorize your suppliers based on supply risk and overall business impact. Let's actually expand on that matrix for a second. If you were, say, an automotive company spending $1 billion on microchips, you wouldn't just guess who to buy from, right? You'd use this 2x2 Kraljic matrix to figure out exactly where your leverage lies. You plot items into bottleneck, strategic, routine, or leverage categories based entirely on how complex the market is and how much profit impact that specific item has. It's absolutely foundational for finding your real bargaining power. Then we hit Step 4, which is contract negotiation. This is where all that academic matrix mapping finally turns into actual face-to-face human interaction. And the goal here? Well, it isn't to just crush the supplier to get the absolute cheapest price. It's to negotiate a true win-win contract that ensures long-term stability for both sides.
Let's fast forward a bit to Step 7, benchmark and track results, because sourcing definitely does not end with a handshake. Continuous tracking and benchmarking are what actually set you up for the next successful cycle. You've got to monitor joint process improvements and stay completely informed on market trends so you're fully prepared when it's time for those big contract renewals. And that brings us to our final module, Section 4, Supplier Evaluation and Performance. In the procurement world, there's basically a VIP club, and it's called being a preferred supplier. This is the absolute ultimate goal for any vendor. It means they've definitively demonstrated their performance capabilities through previous contracts, and because of that proven rock-solid track record, they get the first opportunity for lucrative new business.
To actually earn that preferred status, suppliers are strictly evaluated on 3 quantitative pillars. First up, delivery performance. Are they consistently hitting objectives? Second, quality performance. And third, cost performance. Actually, keep in mind,
Cost isn't just the sticker price. It means tracking real costs adjusted for inflation and comparing them against an industry baseline to guarantee long-term competitiveness. Looking at USA survey data across 19 different categories, the results are pretty eye-opening. Quality and process control is the undisputed #1 priority, capturing nearly 25% of all mentions. Above all else, companies clearly want suppliers who guarantee consistent, defect-free output.
Now, manually tracking all of this data for thousands of global suppliers?
Yeah.
Literally impossible. That's exactly why modern procurement leans so heavily on digital e-sourcing tools. We're talking sell-side systems for the suppliers, buy-side automation for ordering, third-party marketplaces for quick price comparisons, and comprehensive supplier relationship management, or SRM systems, to automatically track compliance across the board.
Ultimately, after running all these deep dive evaluations, a company might face the ultimate make-or-buy decision. They might decide to just bypass external suppliers entirely through insourcing, basically using their own internal resources and employees to perform the work, so they maintain total uncompromised control. The alternative, of course, is outsourcing or offshoring, where you hire a third party or foreign company to handle the tasks, usually to leverage their outside expertise or grab lower labor costs.
As we wrap up this explainer on Lesson 4, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. When a massive corporation rigorously optimizes its global sourcing, using all these frameworks, matrices, and e-sourcing tools to demand absolute efficiency and razor-thin margins, what happens when a sudden global shock hits? It really challenges us to ask, is the relentless pursuit of hyper-efficiency actually creating a company's greatest hidden vulnerability? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those great questions, and I'll catch you next time.